So let's get something out the way. All men do not cheat. All right. I repeat one more time. I'm laughing, but I'm serious. All men do not cheat. Okay. I was literally just having a discussion before we started recording this video about how I feel like there are two types of men. There are the men who have this desire of women at a greater level to where they will try to go make some things happen. All right. Which, yes, can lead to them engaging in infidelity or cheating in a relationship, where there's other men, I argue the majority of men, who if they're getting certain things, they're fine. But we'll dive a little bit more into that specific part at the end of this. So please make sure you watch this whole video, because I don't need y'all being triggered by certain points and then tuning off and not hearing the full message, okay? But at the end of the day, because I know, or I feel with confidence that all men do not cheat, there are some signs that help you see that this is the kind of guy who is not likely to cheat, all right? And I use the word not likely for a very specific reason, and I'll explain that as well at the end. But let's get to some of these signs of how you can know he won't cheat on you. And sign number one is he is willing to let go of women from his past. So here's the thing. There's a lot of, and let me also say this. Don't automatically assume that someone who doesn't do every last one of these things is a cheater, all right? But let me continue. So he's willing to let go of women from his past. There's been tons of relationships that I have seen where people struggle to let go of their exes. Forget struggle. They just flat out don't want to, all right? And some people, it's not even just exes. It's just people they used to have fun with, whatever the case may be. And again, I'm not going to jump to automatically just because people don't let go of these individuals, that's an automatic sign of cheating. However, when we keep people around that we've had relations with, we're playing a very dangerous game. All right. When you're in a new relationship, if that man is unwilling, so it's one thing if when you met him, he had these friendships or whatever you want to call it to women he used to deal with. And then you addressed it and he's willing to release it. This shows you, one, he's very serious. This shows you that he's willing to set those boundaries that you would like him to set, that he deems reasonable. All right. Or, he can agree could be a problem. And so there's no reason to now think this is the type of guy that's going to go out and do something. But when he shows resistance to that and trying to find all these kinds of excuses, again, I'm not saying he's automatically a cheater, but I'm just saying this is a problem. Now, I do think the argument can be made that if you met him while he was holding on to these women, even though he goes on to letting them go, you want to you should gain an understanding of why. Like, what is his deal? Because there are some people who just see it as, listen, nothing wrong with being friends. Just because I used to deal with these people, like every relationship didn't end on a bad note. Every situation didn't go left. So some people used to kick it with each other, be in relationships with each other, and can still be cool with each other. All right. And I think that's healthy. I think that's two mature adults. There's nothing wrong with that. However, again, I think the unwillingness to now separate from those individuals, or at the very least create boundaries, either speaks to a deeper issue within that man or someone who's trying to leave doors open to walk through. Just keeping it real. Now, I'm a firm believer that, listen, even with platonic female friends, there's supposed to be boundaries, all right? I used to say to some of my female friends, I'm like, listen, let's say like a female friend or a friend who's a woman. I know some people don't like the word female. A friend who's a woman might call me at 2 o'clock when I'm single, all right? They call me at 2 a.m. And I might say to them, listen, just know you ain't going to have this privilege when I'm in a relationship. You can't just be calling me at 2 a.m. because now there's a level of respect that has to be shown. There's a level of boundaries. Now, in fairness, what that level is dependent on you and that individual. Because, hey, there might be some people that say, well, I don't care if your friend calls you 2, 3 in the morning. I haven't met that person, but some of y'all, that might exist out there. And if you're cool with that, then you're cool with that. But to get back to the point, when you're not cool with something and he's unwilling to let go, problem. But when he is willing to let go, that's definitely a good sign of someone who's not going to cheat on you. Now, the second sign of a man who will not cheat on you is someone who exhibits loyalty and honesty in all that they do. So one of the things that I think people make a mistake with is only evaluating how someone is with them and not looking at the bigger picture of who this person is and how they interact with others. You've got to understand that someone who is truly honest and loyal at their core shows it in their other aspects of their life. If this person is a liar to everyone else, but let's just say with you, you have not found a lie. He seems to be honest with you. But do you really think he can keep his lying ways only to the outside world outside of you? I'm not saying there are never exceptions to the rule, but I'm saying it's very unlikely because they built the character is kind of habitual. Like, there's certain things that when you're accustomed to doing it, you're gonna do it even with those that you might even genuinely care for and love. All right? Because you have not gotten past whatever the issue is that causes you to behave this way. So if this man is consistently a liar, consistently disloyal to other individuals, again, that speaks to an issue within him, but there's no reason for me to believe that he will be able to manage and maintain over the long haul. He may be for a limited amount of time be able to be on his best behavior with you. All right. I think that can be very common, but to be able to keep that going is unlikely. So when the man exhibits it, you want to pay attention to how he is with other individuals. You want to, when you guys are discussing situations and sometimes maybe even not create scenarios. Like when you're having discussions, come up with a scenario and ask him, how would you handle something like that? What would you do here? And see what his character shows you. Because again, loyalty speaks to his character. Honesty speaks to his character. Also, his willingness to embrace, I have to put it like this, embrace even the potential consequences of it. What I mean by that is this. A lot of people struggle with being honest because they don't want the consequences of their honesty. They don't want the backlash that may happen when they say, a certain thing and they're forthcoming about how they feel. When someone is willing to always be honest, it shows you a level of maturity that says, you know what, even though this may work against me, I'm still willing to face that. And now, listen, no one's perfect. So I don't want you to think that even some of the most honest people may have a moment or a situation that they've told a lie. All right? I don't think because he tells one lie here that automatically, there he goes, he's a cheater. Like, no. It's about what is he doing consistently? What is his reoccurring theme? Is it lying or is it honesty? Is it loyalty or is it making everything about himself? Which now that hit my spirit, so I got to speak a little bit more to it. I'm adding that as like sign 2B. Is he very about himself? All right. Someone who is very self-centered. We can use the word narcissistic, but I'm going to leave narcissistic out because maybe right now you don't really see the full nature of his narcissism, but you start to see how he's it's about me. Forget how this person feels. Forget how this person feels. That is a bad sign because again, one of the core principles or one of the core things that contributes to a person's willingness to cheat is a desire to fulfill or I'm saying the words wrong. Them being more focused about their feelings, their need, their desires in that moment. It's about me at that moment. A lot of people, they look at cheating as like, well, how could you do this to me? But in that person's mind, it wasn't about you. It was about how they felt in that moment. It's about what they wanted in that moment. Their hope was that you would never find out. All right. And this is not to make cheating okay or valid. I'm explaining to you that in their thinking, it was about them. And so when someone is very self-centered, they're more likely to end up doing things that dismiss how you would feel and disregard you. So you want to be mindful of that. But when he does show an ability to show concern for how others feel, to be considerate, all of these things, this shows you a good sign of someone, a man, who is not likely to cheat on you. All right, so now let's keep this going. And the next sign, sign number 3, he will not cheat on you, is that he's not a risk taker. So what do I mean? What I mean by that is, what I have observed is there are a lot of men out there who, as long as their needs are being met, as long as they're happy and good, they don't have, no, I gotta start again. That's not the right way. One more time. All right, so let's keep this going. And the third sign that on how to know he won't cheat on you is that he's not a risk taker. All right. So what I mean by that is this. Here's the reality. Cheating is a risky game. Cheating, it can be very nerve-wracking, very, it can be tough to deal with in the sense that you have to be mindful of the lies you're telling, hiding things. There's a lot that goes into it, as well as you potentially losing your relationship. A guy who is not a risk taker, a guy who tends to live on a more cautious, conservative path, is less likely to want to take the chance of, again, messing things up in his relationship and it falling apart. All right. And there are, of course, exceptions to this, and I'll clarify later in the video. But he doesn't want that smoke, as they say. All right. He don't want no problems. And he just feels like, let me just be home, do what I need to do. That's it. I'm good. I'm fine. I don't need that kind of lifestyle and having to concern myself with that. And I think that when you start to notice, again, I'll say this, at the very least, he's very less likely to try to go make something happen. It's one thing for situations to fall in people's laps, all right, that they may mishandle. But cheating or to actively go cheat, that requires a certain mindset. That requires a willingness to, again, take a risk that can lead to a lot of drama, lead to pain, lead to disappointment, depending on how he feels about his relationship. All right. And the non-risk taker is just a lot less likely to want to do that. So I do think that plays into it. I also have to say that I was going to skip this, but I have to say it. The other thing that I've noticed that kind of connects with this whole not a risk taker thing is that I feel like there's a lot of men, I would argue the majority of men, who it's very easy for them to be complacent. It's very easy for them to be content as long as they're getting enough of what they're looking for, or they're getting what they're looking for. And they're not trying to go beyond that. And I'll use career as an example. There's a lot of men out there that if they're making, let's say they're making 70 grand, and I'm not saying 70 grand is good, bad, whatever. I'm just explaining to you. And that 70 grand covers his needs and puts a roof over his head, and he's good. He does not have a desire to seek more. He does not have a desire to push past that. He's good. He's genuinely good. And to me, what I have seen in a lot of men is this translates into how they are with relationships. If they're getting what they need to get, they're good. They don't have this, I need more. Because a lot of times the perception of men who cheat, the perception at least from a lot of women, is they're just greedy. They just want more. They're never satisfied. You can give them what they want and they still go look for something else. And I would argue that's not how the majority of men are. They are, just give me what I need and I'm fine, all right? Now, I know some of you will fight that because you feel like you've been in these situations where that was not the case. And I hate to keep doing this to you, but I will explain more of that at the end of this video because I want to keep this in my proper structure. So hold on tight. Trust me, I will make this very clear. But to wrap up this specific point, those type of guys are just less likely to try to go after it and make cheating happen. All right, so now we're at number 4. And I think number 4 is something that a lot of people don't think about, but let me put it out there for you. The 4th sign on how to know he won't cheat on you is that he thinks ahead and he's very aware. So here's what I mean by this. What I have seen in all my years of doing coaching and just knowing people, friends, associates, whatever, is that a lot of scenarios of cheating happen because men do not think ahead. And they're not aware. And what I mean by that is this. A man could be dealing with, let's say, a woman who's a friend, and to him, he is genuinely oblivious to the fact that she is attracted to him or wants him. All right? Now, his woman can see it, which is why she don't like that chick. All right? She can sense something's there. And to that woman, you may feel like your man's playing stupid or he's just trying to make it easier for him to do something. What it actually is, he is not aware. He doesn't get it. He actually does not think there's anything between him and this woman. This woman doesn't look at him this way, whatever the case may be. So there's the awareness part, all right? That's one layer of it. But let's think about the think ahead. So now in that same scenario, that woman is home alone, it's late at night, and she calls this man who's in a relationship and says, my computer is broken. I know you're good with computers. Can you come here and fix it? Okay? Now to the man who, again, not aware, not thinking ahead. And when I say think ahead in the sense that you're going to a woman's house. It's at night. She's single. One, is this really good for the optics of what this could look like? Even if it's innocent, you might want to make sure you go in early in the day or go with a friend. That would be the right way to safely navigate this, okay? But again, he's not aware, he's not thinking ahead. And if he does have any attraction to this woman, but he's convinced himself, yeah, I think she looks good, but I would never do nothing. He's not considering the situation he's putting himself in that can lead to something happening. So he goes to this woman's house late at night because again, he thinks it's no big deal. He goes, and when he walks in the door, here she is with some booty shorts and a real short shirt. Now, listen, y'all may say this is crazy. Stuff like this happens, okay? But again, the man lacking aware, because you might say there's no way at this point he doesn't get that maybe she's trying to make something happen. I'm telling you, some men really just thinking, no, it's not like that. And he's being honest. But anyways, and yes, there might be something in the back of his head that's like, dang, okay, she's looking good. I wouldn't mind something happening, but at the same time, nah, it ain't like that. Whatever the case may be. That's some men. Anyways, he goes, he fixes the computer, he ends up fixing something else. All right. and this is one of those scenarios, and I hate to laugh, so forgive me for laughing because cheating is not a funny matter. However, this is one of those situations where you ever heard a man say, it just happened? I don't know how it happened. And to you, it's like, how the hell could you not know? How could it not? You made a decision. You didn't just trip and your penis fell in her stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not how it happens. But it's really a situation of people getting caught up in the moment because they're not thinking ahead and they're not aware. So to get to the point, when a man shows an ability to think ahead and be aware to where he can pick up on, he knows it, like he sees the things that you see. And that's tough. So I don't want you to put that expectation on men. I will say men need to do better as far as thinking ahead. I do think that men need to process things properly rather than just kind of moving in the moment, because that's how you get in trouble, not just when it comes to cheating, but a lot of different things that can go wrong because you're not thinking ahead. And yes, of course, being aware would be good, but I do think that women, due to being more intuitive, due to being typically better with the details, can sometimes see things that the man does not see. But So it's not to say that when he struggles in these areas, he's a cheater. It's just that when he is good in those areas, he is less likely to get himself into trouble because he will see things in advance. He will understand, okay, you know what? This wouldn't look good. This would not be best. This could lead to a problem, or this woman might have something up her sleeve. Let me not go that route. You know what I'm saying? So that's why this would be a very good sign he's not likely to cheat on you. All right. So before I get to the next one, real quick, people always ask me about coaching, wanting to get their questions answered, but I'm so overwhelmed with questions, I can't get to everybody. So I created my special coaching program. Not only can you get your questions answered, but there's going to be modules in there that help you with tapping into your feminine energy, healing, finding your purpose, hearing from God more clearly, meeting quality relationship-minded men, all right, and a lot more. Take advantage, join my special coaching program, go to receivingmyblessings.com or click the link in the description or in the comments section. All right, so now number 5. And the 5th sign is he trusts you and respects your feelings. Now, some of you might be thinking, oh, what does him trusting you got to do with you being able to trust him, right? So here's the thing. Look at it like this. In a lot of cases of men who are cheaters, many have this habit of being overly skeptical or projecting that distrust onto the woman. He's thinking you always doing something. Now, again, it doesn't automatically mean that every man who is looking at his woman sideways and thinking she's doing something is cheating. Some men are insecure. Some men have been hurt. There's different things that can play into it. But it is to say that, yes, there is plenty of examples of men who are cheaters projecting it onto a woman that she's the problem, that she can't be trusted. So I would argue that when he can show you full trust, it's almost like when you're doing shady things and you're a shady person, it becomes harder for you to believe that other people will not be shady as well. But when you are a good person and you are a trustworthy person, it's easier for you to believe that someone else can be trustworthy. It's easier for you to see the good in others because you have so much good resonating within you. So when he is very trustworthy of you, to me, that does show a good sign. As well as I said, he respects your feelings. It kind of goes back to when I mentioned the guy who's very self-centered. It's about me. He's disregarding you, is a greater candidate for someone who would cross the lines of cheating. However, someone who does consider how you feel, who is mindful, who is being considerate of you, he is going to be less likely. All right. He's not going to be as quick to cross that line because there's this internal, he will have a struggle with his own guilt. Like there are people out there that it's not only they love their partner or they don't want to betray their partner. It's also that they could not live with themselves. Like they would struggle themselves. All right. With it because of, again, just the idea of hurting you, the idea of making you feel this way makes them sick. All right. And so they would struggle because they respect and they trust you and they value you so much. Now, again, people are human. I don't say that to make cheating okay. I say that to make the point that even in situations, there are people who love their partner and have still made that mistake. Made that bad choice. And I know some of you are thinking that's BS, that's nonsense. No, it's a lot deeper than a lot of people are willing to accept and realize. And it's not something that we'll dive too deep into in this video. That's something for another discussion. But just know that it's not as simple as, oh, if they cheat, they don't love you, or if they cheat, there's a lot more to it. And I'm speaking as someone who has, again, talked to so many different couples and individuals who have dealt with it and seen so many different angles. And I know it's a lot more complex than people want to give it credit to. All right. But again, I just had to, it's one of those hitting my spirit moments. I had to say it, but let's continue with the list. All right. So now number 6, and this one might piss some people off, but I got to be honest and tell the truth. So the 6th sign that he won't cheat on you is that he doesn't hide his phone. All right. So now let me break this down so you understand. Because I know there's a lot of people who are very adamant about phone privacy. Okay. And people have various reasons. Now, the argument can be made, if you're not doing anything shady, why do you need so much privacy? But I don't think it's fair to automatically say someone is cheating. But I will say this, in many relationships, when there is a lot of phone secrecy, and this can happen, this happens on both ends, but we're talking about men right now. When there's a lot of phone secrecy, it can create seeds of doubt. All right. That when something else happens can now water that seed and grow it into something worse. But getting to the point of, I'll say this, we can have a deeper discussion on if it's an automatic that someone's doing something if they're hiding their phone. But I'm going to focus on, but if they're not hiding their phone, and let me honestly say this, all right? And this really, I was going to say this is one of the things I was going to mention at the end, but I'll mention it now. The reason why I keep using the words not likely is because at the end of the day, there's no guarantee to not cheating. All right. That's the unfortunate reality of life. Even those who say, I would never cheat. There's a lot of people who said I would never cheat and ended up in that situation. All right. Because as I mentioned a little while ago, it's a lot more complex than people want to understand and give credit to. And they got to realize that right circumstances, right buttons pushed, all these things can create a situation where people go down the wrong path. All right. And so with the fact that there's no guarantee to cheating, all right, I also have to add that, yes, I'm giving you signs that it gives you a better chance that he's not the guy who at least has the mindset of cheating. Because I think there's two different people here. There's the person who cheating is a way of life to them. They just see it as it happens, this is what we do, so on and so forth. And then there's the guy that's not how his mind is. His mind is, I want to be faithful and I'm willing, and my goal and my desire is to be faithful to one woman. So when I give you these signs, I'm telling you that this is the mentality or the behaviors of a man who is likely trying to be faithful, and there's a good chance he will be faithful. Because I think cheating does not happen as often as some people think. All right. I don't want to veer too far off the points and path I was going to be on right now, but I have to say this. And this may sound bad, but I'm going to keep it real. Number one, every man ain't capable of just walking outside and getting some action. I want to just keep it real with y'all real quick. I think there's this idea that any man can just, when he wants to, go out and cheat. Like it's so easy for men to get it from women they want. That's not the case. A lot of men already struggle in life getting a woman. When they find a woman that they're happy with, they're like, yo, I'm good. And trying to navigate getting more, that's not their life. That's not the way they live. And they don't even care for it. Now, granted, it's one thing to not care for it and go after it. It's another thing that if it falls in your lap, will you take it? That's a whole different discussion. But it's not as simple for every guy anyway. So a lot of guys, and they're not worried about it, not thinking about it. For some, they're not completely capable of getting it. There's various reasons why a lot of men are not crossing the lines of cheating. But these signs are saying it's less likely. And yes, are there some guys who could show you these signs and still end up cheating? Yes, that's why I'm mentioning that it's not a guarantee. But I do think if they can exhibit these behaviors, there's no reason to question them. Because in questioning them, how can you enjoy this relationship? If you're going to always be worried about every man, no, if he's doing the right things, embrace that. Because if you don't, you'll undermine the guy who actually is being faithful and loyal to you. All right. But let's get back to this. So as far as the phone, I think a willingness to be transparent, not be secretive with the phone, is showing you someone who is trying to give you reassurance. Someone who is showing you, I ain't got nothing to hide, so hey, look at it, whatever. And, he's trying to create an environment that says you have nothing to worry about here. And I think it's at the very least a good sign. Again, I don't want to jump to the opposite being an automatic cheater, but I think when he does do this, it's a good sign. All right, and now the last sign, and we got an extra bonus. The last sign real quick that he will not cheat on you is that he brings you completely into his world. So if you watch some of my previous videos, I'm always talking about like when a guy's serious about you, he includes you into his life. And when he's not, he kind of likes to keep things separate, typically. And so when the man allows you, he's introducing you to family, friends, he's including you in the things that he's doing, he's telling you about what's going on in his life, he's making you a part of his world, that's a very good sign. Because again, the man at the very least who has the mindset of cheating likes to put up more barriers or tends to put up more barriers, all right? Tends to not include you. It's like, listen, if I know I'm going to be cheating on you, do I want you meeting every last family member? Like, do I want you to get too close? Now, again, that doesn't mean there aren't guys who made you meet everyone and still did some shady stuff. But typically when he is including you like this, that is a very, very good sign of someone who does not have the mindset of he's trying to cheat on you. All right. So now the bonus one, and this is another one that might piss some people off. All right. But again, I got to be real no matter what. So the bonus sign of how to know he will not cheat on you is that you are giving him what he needs from you. Now, notice I put a little extra on the what he needs. Not what you think he should get, not what you want to give him, what he needs. Now, before I continue, like I said, some of you might be pissed off because you're like, nah, don't even try that. I've given a man what he needed and he still cheated. Listen, there's going to always be exceptions to the rule, all right? But I think the general rule of thumb is, in all the situations I have seen where cheating has occurred, I'm just going to speak from my experience as a coach. I have never come across a situation where the person was getting everything they wanted and needed and still cheated. I have not seen that. All right. Again, I'm not going to say it doesn't exist. It's never happened. I have not seen that. And I am confident in saying that that is typically the case. Yes, there are people who are doing for each other in what they think should be done. So quick example, and let's use a man real quick, as far as the man being the one doing what he thinks he's supposed to do. Long story short, I won't get into all the details, but there was a man who he basically felt that by paying her bills and providing for her financially, he was doing his part as a man. All right. The woman still ends up cheating on him. What was the lack in that relationship? It was the fact that he did not know how to pour into her emotionally at all. He completely neglected this woman emotionally because to him, his job was simply pay the bills, take care of you in that way. That should be good enough. All right. So when he goes around telling people the story of him being cheated, including what he said to me, he starts with, I gave this woman everything. I gave her what she wanted and it still wasn't good enough. No. That's not true. You didn't give her what she needed. Not all of it. You didn't give her what she truly wanted. You gave her what you thought should be sufficient enough for her to be satisfied and to give her what you're looking for in return. And so this happens on the flip side, where a lot of times a woman comes to me and says, I gave him everything. But when we go deeper into the relationship, we find that there's a disconnect between what he actually wanted and needed and what she was willing to give him. All right. I've even had situations where a woman will say, I was good to this man. Y'all ain't have sex for the last 2 months. 2 months. And let's talk about a married couple now. 2 months. And you're saying I gave him everything. This man been complaining about lack of sex for the longest. All right. Now listen, I am not saying this again to validate the end result being cheating. I'm explaining that yes, in most cases, there is something we're not pouring into each other properly to fortify our relationship. all right? And again, I know this makes people mad because people want to make cheating simply about the cheater. And it's like we have no responsibility whatsoever. If they cheated, that's on them. But in a relationship, when there is blatant neglect, and let me not even use the word neglect, blatant. When there is consistent neglect, that typically opens the door to cheating on either side. All right? So back to my original point, when he's getting what he needs, and to understand what he needs, you have to ask him. You have to understand what is it that he's looking for. The same way he needs to be mindful and aware of what you need and what you're looking for from him. And when two people are pouring into each other properly and consistently, then I would argue that those relationships are the one that see greater success and much less of a chance of infidelity ever happening. Hey, thank you for watching this video. Be sure to check this one out right here, and I'll see you there. So I'm not sure if you know this or not, but men can be sensitive, all right? Men can be a little fragile, and more specifically, they can be sensitive towards the woman that they actually care about, that they have deep